Hey, I'm Jay Skinner, and this is the Buyers and Sellers Show today. This is the pre-show, so sit back and relax. I'll play a song or two, and we'll have some fun. This is the day Doug Wing's going to be on. How about that? Doug Wing, the former owner, one of the co-owners of the Little Giant Ladder Company. How about that? You know all about them. And he's going to talk about the ups and downs of business and life, how we get through them, things like that. I hope you'll be able to come away from this glad you came, chance to talk to Doug, and feeling more hopeful than ever. Here's the song, Tootsie goodbye, Tootsie don't cry, the choo-choo train that takes me away from you, no words can tell how sad it makes me. Kiss me, Tootsie, and then do it over again. Watch for the mail, I'll never fail. If you don't get a letter, then you'll know I'm in jail. Tootsie, don't cry, Tootsie, goodbye. Can anybody tell me who did that one? That was Al Jolson. Can you believe that? A long time ago. I know I get a request. You know I love the Boogie Woogie and 12-bar blues. Play a little bit of that. And the 1035, which we're just there. Yeah. And we're live. Hi, I'm Jay Skinner. This is the Buyers and Sellers Show. I am so glad you're here. We're on every Friday morning at 10:35, and you know that I actually come on at about 10:33 Eastern Standard Time, play a song and have some fun and give everybody a chance to get on. So thank you for coming. Be sure and make your comments in the comment area and ask questions. This is the way everybody gets to participate live. So with that, I want you to know we've got a very special guest here, a fellow that many of you have seen before. This is his second time on the show. And well, you know, like you've heard the name Doug Wing, and Doug Wing's got over 40 years of experience in manufacturing operations, sales, the whole shooting match. Like I said, he was the co-owner and vice chairman of Little Giant Ladder Company before retiring in 2019. And now he's got a book coming up, Cool Things, and we're talking about those ups and downs. And let's see, he's in the green room right now. There. Hey, Doug Wing, how you doing?
Jay, I'll tell you what, that introduction is amazing. You're so talented, and it gets you fired up. How are you doing? Good to see you again.
I'm glad. I'm doing good. Good to see you again. Thank you so much for coming back. You're a friend and a business compadre, and I really appreciate that. And it's like, wait a second. What is going on here? Somebody just came in the back door. Oh my gosh. Look at this. It's Jeffrey Gittimer, the king of sales.
I want to make sure that if people are listening, that they're about to get an earful from the great Doug Wing, whom have been sharing earfuls with me for the past 25 years.
Hey, Jeffrey. Good morning.
Hi, Doug. Don't be confused by his hair, please. But I can promise you that we've spent hours and days together, and it's been one of the most valuable experiences of my life. Wow. And I want to make sure that you guys are privy to the same thing. He's completed his book. If you don't buy it, you're a fool. His father's wisdom is throughout it, but Doug's wisdom is in there also. And I've given Doug a couple of offers. I'm hoping that he accepts them shortly, because we're going to be doing this 3-day event in Charlotte, and I want him to be a featured person. In the meantime, Skinner, you doing okay?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Jeffrey?
Still spiking your hair, even though it's falling out by the lump.
You know about that. That
It's
is a
disgusting.
treat.
When you lose your hair, it's like over. And Doug, it's all heredity. And you look at my family; they're bald. But you look at Doug's family; they all had hair all over the place. So he'll be fine.
Oh my
But I
gosh.
think the secret is chocolate milk, isn't it?
Chocolate milk.
Maybe it could be, but I know that Jeffrey saves a lot of money on shampoo and hair gel, and so you got to look at the
Oh
positive.
my gosh, you have no idea. Jay's pissing his money away on hair gel, and there's no reason to.
Exactly.
Well, hey, you know what? It's like you're like a magnet, Jeffrey. Between you and Doug Wing, you're all making me look good. I appreciate this.
Cool. No, my pleasure.
There's some people here. Just hold on a second. Let's see if you know anybody. Holy cow, look at that. There's Cynthia Mannion. Good morning. Good to see you there. And Simon, good morning. Oh, listening in from the UK.
Whoa. Isn't that
Awesome.
cool? I
That
love
is-
that kind of stuff.
It's like we got good people. It's like that. Good morning, Coachman. Good to see you. Good Friday.
We got a lot of
Let's see who we got.
Well,
Virendra
Dubai is crazy.
from Dubai. Woohoo! I like Dubai. Isn't that fun?
I talked a lot on my 959 this morning about the trucker thing in Canada.
Good. Good.
It's unbelievable what's going on there.
It is. It is. It's the great
Anyway,
one. Here you go.
I want you to, I apologize, but I have to bug out.
You do?
But I will talk to you later.
Thank you for dropping in. What a great
definitely.
surprise.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You guys take care.
Ladies and
Douglas,
gentlemen, the
All right.
great
Talk to you
Jeffrey Gittimer, King of Sales. Thanks for coming, Jeffrey.
kill him, bud.
All right.
Okay.
See you later, Jeffrey. Bye.
Oh my gosh. What a great surprise. That is fantastic.
I thought you were talking about someone coming through the back door of your house and you were going to call 911 or something.
You're getting ready to do 911. It's funny, everybody. Just before we went on, we were talking. I said, now I think I'm home alone, and it's like in my studio, and it's like I told Doug, if you see someone come in the door behind me, call 911. I'm in Westfield, Indiana. Oh my gosh. So look at this. So, and Cynthia, you've shared this. Thank you so much. Ron, don't waste dollars on razors either. Good day, guys. That's great. And let's see, there's my niece Sharon Skinner Hoffmeister, and she's been doing she's famous for going live like every day consecutively for 800 and sometimes. Sharon,
Wow.
be sure and let us know how many days consecutively you've gone now in your business, and we'll be sure and let everyone know. Everybody on the show is kind of following her progress as well. Oh my gosh. Now, this is, I can't believe Jeffrey Gittimer shows up at our show. You're good friends with him, aren't you?
Yeah, we've been friends for quite a while. He used to do some sales training when I was in charge of all the sales training at Little Giant. We used quite a bit of his information, a lot of his books and tapes and CDs and things. Yeah, so it goes back quite a ways. I met him at several events, one in Salt Lake and then one that was in Vegas, 2-day event they did in Vegas. So yeah, it's been quite a few years.
Man, that's great. Let's see. I just catch here. Sharon says, now you've done a few go lives yourself now. Can you imagine doing 844 in a row every single day, 7 days a week, Christmas and everything?
Incredible. Yeah. And that's what's really going right now is, with the pandemic we had, and we're still in it a little bit, but with COVID, I mean, live is the way of the future as well. I think, even with Little Giant now, they're doing, they have Little Giant Live. They've got several studios that they actually will do appointments and make the presentations live. So.
Yep. And I'm going to just put this up. If anyone likes to see and know what Sharon does, she does a great business. TheSharonHoffmeister.com. I'm real proud of her. She's my niece. Of course I am. Yeah. Okay. So the topic today is going through the ups and downs with Doug Wing. And when it's like in the Little Giant ladder system, and all of a sudden I realized as I was climbing my Little Giant ladder, it's like I'm going up and down. It was like a pun.
Yeah.
I didn't even know we were making a pun when I titled this, but it was kind of fun. And we're interested to just kind of talk about, the ups and downs of Little Giant and some of the important things that were there. And so, Doug, take it away. Help these people know about the ups and the downs and how to navigate that.
Well, a lot of people, when they see a company like Little Giant, and the success that we had, people are always like, wow, you guys have an incredible company, and you've had so much success, and all of that is true. But what a lot of times people don't see is the challenging years. My dad started the company in 1972. People don't realize how long we had been at it. And in the very beginning, and this story, my dad, when my dad first saw the Little Giant ladder, he bought a container full, brought them over from Germany, and he pre-sold them. He pre-sold the ladders, and when he got the container and he made a list of all the people that said, "Yeah, I'll buy one," he went one by one to every one of those people, and none of them bought a ladder. They all made excuses. Oh, my daughter got married, or I lost my job, or my uncle died, or whatever. And so my dad had to go out again and resell all those ladders. And he went door to door. He went house to house. He started doing trade shows. And when he was at his very first trade show, the largest ladder company in the world, the two brothers that owned it came up to my dad and laughed at him in the booth and said, "Mr. Wing, you're basically a fool. You're an idiot, and you are not going to succeed. You're going to fail." And they laughed at him. And so, here's my dad. He's trying to sell this new ladder. People had never seen him before. You could buy a ladder back then, my dad said, for $9.99 at Sears. And here's my dad trying to sell a ladder for $200. I mean, imagine that in the 70s when the economy's starting to tank and we have high interest rates. So I mean, it was not easy. And there were a lot of lean years, and it all started with negativity, and people are like, "You're not going to make it." But my dad had this amazing, I will say my dad was the most positive person I've ever met, and I never saw him down. He always believed in himself. And he said that growing up, with his parents, his mom was really the one that told him, "You can do anything you want to in life." And so I had a great mentor in my father who, I mean, attitude is really, really important. You have to put the work in, but it all started kind of rocky for Little Giant, but there were several other times that we were really in trouble, and we made it, and I think that one of the big reasons we made it is that, was just the keeping your attitude proper and working hard and not, believing the negative and just staying positive. And we're kind of we're kind of going through some times right now, like we talked about before with COVID. People were locked down. There's a lot of people that have lost their jobs. Businesses have gone under, and it's tough to make it today. But you've got to keep on going, and
Yes.
and just keep your attitude good, and good things will happen.
So in the beginnings of, in fact, your own program here was Coachman. There we go. Get someone in there. Hey, shout out to Lana, Cynthia, Sharon, and the good one. Hey, Ron. Okay, good. I'm glad everybody's here. This is so fun. There we go. Ron Goodwin. That was Ron on those. Isn't it fun to have friends all over the world? It's like, and it's like, this is from Dubai. How cool is that? I love it. And the UK, I guess. Thanks, Simon. Okay, I'm just being enamored with how good this morning's going. Between having Doug Wing, Jeffrey Gittimer, and everybody else that's online, I'm so excited. Anyway, one of the things that you talked about was your way of handling things when you dealt with people, and how that went into helping make you successful. And it's a different perspective than some people have. Could you explain that about being the resource?
Yeah, I mentioned to you before when we were talking about this, I never really considered myself a salesman. I always just wanted to help people and be a resource. And there were many times, when I was out on the road traveling, selling ladders, where people would, say, "Hey, we need this scaffolding, or we need this special ladder," and we didn't have it. And if we couldn't make it, I would find out who made it, and I would help them get it. And even
Mhm.
again, even if it wasn't my product. And so I kind of, just tried to help people and develop relationships with people. And I found that by doing that, when people needed my help again, they would come to me. They needed something, they would come to me over and over again. And it just worked out really well. It's just try to help people and take care of their needs. And it worked out well, and developed a relationship with them. And that's really what I tried to do. And it
Yes.
worked.
And you develop that trust with individuals that lasts a lifetime. You tell a story about when your dad was down, and something about your business, and it went down, you sold it, and then he went and he borrowed money. Can you tell that story, please?
Yeah, yeah. So, again, we talked about that. Oh, people see Little Giant, this huge company, and selling hundreds of millions of dollars with the ladders, but it wasn't always like that. In 1981, my dad sold his business, and he sold to a huge company in California that owned, hundreds of businesses. And what it ended up being is people didn't realize that this was a Ponzi scheme, and they had taken all these little businesses and taken all the cash out of them and bankrupted all the companies. And so about 1986, Little Giant was no more. We were completely, just out of business. My dad didn't have any money. But he did have a wonderful reputation. He did have his integrity, and he walked into a bank in 1986 and asked the president of the bank for $1 million. Told him what happened. Said Little Giant is going to be, they're going to sell off the assets at a sheriff's sale. I need $1 million to buy the assets back, and I need a building. I've always paid you guys back. I don't know when I can pay you back. Will you give me the money? And the president of the bank stood up and shook my dad's hand and said, "Hal, we believe in you. You're a man of integrity. You've always paid us back. We know you'll pay us back. Don't worry about when to pay us back. You'll have the money," and gave it to him that day. And so, yeah, incredible story. And so here my dad was down in the dumps. His company was no more. Walked into a bank, got the money. And I asked my dad about that one time. I said, "Man, wasn't that hard to start the company again? I mean, here you were, you were probably close to 50 years old. You're in your 40s, late 40s. And, here you had to start all over again." He goes, "No, it was easier." And I'm like, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, it was easier because I remembered all of the mistakes that I made the first time, and I eliminated those, and the success came even quicker." And so I thought, here's this guy that has this just positive attitude, belief in himself that was over the top, and he started it again, and it was a success again. But that
Yeah.
wasn't the end. There was a lot of downs again along the way. It's with some
Okay.
ups. So yeah, you just kept on going, kept on believing.
So, one of the things we talked about, and uh, we've got to pay homage to Hal Wing. He knew how to treat people, and that's what I've heard. And over the years that you and I have known each other now, and been together, it's a constant reminder that that's very, very important. And it's like, that's great. Let's take a minute here and see who else is around. So, hey, Scott Ricard. Good morning. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Let's see what we got. Sneed, Gregory Sneed, a wing and a prayer. You bet. Doug
Thank
Wing's here. Um, Good morning, friends, even from Calizuela. Calizuela. I bet that's California. Here we go, Ricard. Good morning, everyone here watching. This is awesome. Thanks, everybody shouting out. There's from the Philippines, Nancy Medina, Tibio Malunda. Hello. Good evening, Jay and Doug Wing. You're watching from the
You know
Philippines.
what they say in the Philippines? They say
What?
mabuhay. That's what they say when you
What
say
do they say?
mabuhay.
There you go. You
Mabuhay
probably
Nancy.
she's
Yeah.
going to say it back to us now, probably. Waiting patiently for my several copies of your signed book. Can't wait for it to be available. Okay, that'll be awesome. And that probably a reminder too is as we were talking about this book that's coming out, tell us just briefly about it. Uh, Tell us about the book. I'm going to put up the screen here on your website. It's called dougwing.com. And if I do like this, it should show. I got to pick the right screen. Let's see if this does it. Bam. And I'm going to share the screen there. And it looks to me like, is that it? Oh, that's Little Giant. There we go. We're going to buy a ladder first. Then we're going to go over to here. And there's,
there you go.
There's Doug.
Yeah.
And
So
what do you do here?
Everybody saw Jeffrey on earlier, probably the ones that were on earlier. So, in my interaction with Jeffrey over the years after I retired, I mentioned to Jeffrey, I started sharing all these stories with him about my dad, and he was blown away. And he said, "You have to tell these stories. These stories will change people's lives. It can help individuals. It can help entrepreneurs. It can help business people, salespeople." And so I was like, man, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to tell these stories about how wing. I've never written a book before, but with Jeffrey's help and encouragement, I started, just writing these stories down, his quotes he had, and the stories of him starting the company and his ups and downs and highs and lows. And then, the rest is history. Started writing the book, and it took me about 1.5 years because I didn't sit down and just, do the book all day long. So it did take some time, but this is my website, and you can see right there, there's a spot on there that says get notified of my book when it becomes available. And we are almost done with that book. That will be out. It should be out in about March or April. I mentioned to you earlier that that we just finished the editing is all done. They're now doing the cataloging and copywriting, and we're working on the cover and everything. So it's going to be available real soon here. And what this book will have in it will have some amazing stories. And the stories are all tied to these principles of how wing, such as integrity and how to treat employees, how to treat people, how to work with people. Just a whole bunch of different nuggets. And I think there's about 14 or 15 chapters in the book, which will, as you learn these principles of how wing, it'll really help you in your life and your work and the things that you're doing. So I'm excited about it. It's going to be an excellent book, and I hope it helps a lot of people. I know it's going to.
I know it will. So let's see. We've got some more of these here. Good morning, Charles. Everybody's shouting out to everybody else. Just what a nice group. I love everybody that's here, and those of you that are watching right now, either on the replay or just not commenting. God bless you. I'm so glad you're here. This is so cool to have so many people.
There it is.
There it is. The mabuhay. To both of you, Jay and Doug Wing, keep safe. Thank you. Now we can speak Filipino. Here we go. Charles Coachman says, Doug, what part did faith play in your dad's business and in yours today? Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, faith was huge. We grew up in a very faith-based household, a very religious household. And the company that my dad started, and as we built the company, it's the only place, I would say maybe there's one other place I was in a business, but we started every meeting with prayer, every meeting. And my dad always used to say, we can do a lot on our own, but when we have God's help, we can accomplish anything. And so this company was amazing. Like I said, every meeting we had started with prayer. We had real Christmas parties where my dad would get up and read Luke chapter 2 and talk about Christ's birth and everything. It was amazing. And my dad would speak from the heart, and they were emotional. But yeah, faith was huge. It is still huge in my life. But really, my dad always said that our company was blessed and that we had help doing what we did. And I believe that 100%.
Amen. Virendra Segal, I think maybe I said that right. I don't know. Is hey Jay and Doug, sorry he needs to move out. It's his son's marriage anniversary. Congratulations to him. They're currently out for dinner. So in Dubai, it'd be dinner time. I love so far, and I'm sure it's going to get more interesting as we go on. You bet. And I'm so glad you came, Virendra. Let's see who else is here. Jerry. Oh, and I agree. I have a very inspiring guest today with Doug Wing. Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, I was on his show last week.
All right. That was great.
A good
Good
man.
morning, Jerry. Cheers, brother. Cynthia says, good morning. Everybody's shouting out. There's Lana. I love the quote on the Building a Legacy page. So let's see. What quote would that be? Do you know which one that would be? Oh, yeah. It says, if you concentrate on building a business and not the man, you will not achieve. But if you concentrate on building the man, you achieve both. Hal Wing.
Yeah, that was, it's really similar to Zig Ziglar's quote that if you can get anything you want as long as you help enough other people get what they want. And in fact, when my dad passed away 10 years ago, there was a little induction ceremony that the governor was at. My dad was inducted into a thing in Utah called the Pillar of the Valley, along with Stephen R. Covey and other people, successful people. And the governor of Utah said, Hal Wing always told people he was in the ladder business, but that wasn't true. Hal Wing was in the people business. And I was like, wow, that's a cool quote,
How about that? It's like, don't make me cry, Scott. Yes, Dad would be proud. You bet his dad would be. Little Giant, a business of distinction and culture. Yes, sir.
Now, one thing about our company is my dad demanded quality. I mean, and people always say, what really kept you going? And I would say quality was one of them, that we would never compromise the quality. And the people that came in and tried to knock us off would always do so with a lesser quality and a lesser price. So, you do get what you pay for. And I totally 100% believe in the quality wins a lot.
Amen to that. And Eric's here. God's blessing. Good morning to all. Loves the wingman. You know it. You know it.
In fact, I'm going to be in Houston February 10th through the 15th, and I plan to see Eric when I'm there. He wants to meet me, and I want to meet him.
That will be fun. So let's talk about, we talked about people, and one of the things, in fact, I was having lunch with my son Eli the other day, and he said, Dad, there's millionaires out there that are living paycheck to paycheck, worried about what they're going to do next week, how they're going to pay their property taxes, whatever. And it's like, you never think about it, but if your assets are all tied up in stuff, and things are kind of going downhill, cash flow is not what it used to be. Because of COVID, because of I don't know what, because of family problems, divorce, separation, all the terrible things that I could say. I'm not trying to depress everyone, but we might look like we're like doing great, but inside some people are dying. And so we need to put one foot in front of the other. What are some of your suggestions on what we should be doing to rebuild, reinvent, restart, and go back up since we've gone down for some of us?
Yeah, great question. I would say, really work on your attitude, and then people would say, well, how do you do that? And what I try to do every day is I avoid the news because I found that the news is totally negative. Now, do I get my phone out every day and just quickly scan the news for anything that might be of importance? Absolutely. But I don't spend hours watching, any of the network's news because it's totally negative. And Tom Hopkins talked about that, how, the weather guy gets on and guess what he says? The weather guy says it's going to be partly sunny today. Why doesn't he say it's going to be mostly sunny, right?
Right.
So everything is so negative. So I say, be careful what you put into your mind. And that means try to avoid the news as much as you can, maybe even altogether. And you can there's other news sources you can get, and then fill your mind with positive things, such as reading or listening to positive books every day. Take, an hour every day and fill it with something good. something that's going to uplift you and keep you positive. Because really, and remember, we are living in, the greatest country for opportunity in the entire world. I mean, look at the people that have built businesses during COVID, and there's opportunities everywhere, even in downturns. Little Giant always thrived during tough economic times. And I think it's because when people bought things, they wanted to buy quality and make it last. But yeah, so I'd say really watch what you put into your mind via media, and then put good things into your mind via books. Hang out with positive people. Nobody likes a negative Nancy or Nelly or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, really just be careful who you associate with, and then have work on your self-belief. You got to stay positive. And I was raised by two parents that had unbelievable attitudes. My dad was unbelievable. His self-belief, his positivity was just contagious, and it was just amazing.
So one of the things that we talked about was goals. I mean, and to some people, this seems a little odd, but it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, my buddy Ken Walls had Brian Tracy on last week, and many people that are on here saw that. But he talked about write down 100 of the goals that you want to achieve in your life, and put them as if they had already occurred. In other words, let's say you want a Learjet. You would write down, I own a whatever, whatever jet it is, and you write that down. And he talked about this story where he met a guy that wrote down the 100 things. And then he told Brian Tracy years later, he said, I wrote those down. And he goes, I actually accomplished every one of those goals. As he went through and looked at his original list, that they were all checked off over time. And so those goals are really important. This is something I do every day. So you can see, let me get it centered in here. I have on my goals daily, and Ken Walls, a lot of people here know Ken Walls, but people think, hey, Doug Wing needs help with coaching and with his attitude. Absolutely. I've got a friend, Ken Walls, who's my coach. And so what I do every day, Jay, is write down 5 of my goals that I'm going to accomplish that day. And you say, why just 5 daily goals? Well, Tom Hopkins, in some of the training classes I've been with him, he talked about don't put 15 or 20 goals down every day because it's overwhelming you. So put down the 5 most important things you're going to do every day. And then with Ken helping me, he has me list my 5 blessings every day, gratitude things you're thankful for. And then after that, you put 5 wants that you want in your life. And those could be, some of those 100 things. So again, this is what I do every day right here. And I write those things down, and they get done, and they really help me. So definitely goals are very, very important. Definitely, it's a huge part of your life. If you don't have goals, you're not going to go anywhere. And you've got to write them down. And Brian Tracy talked about that last week. Write them down, write them down, write them down. He just hammered on it. You have to write them down. And something powerful happens when you write them down. They happen. Your goals happen when you look at them, and they're in your mind. It's amazing.
The Bible says faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And from a spiritual perspective, we're all taught to have faith. Wow. Faith like you can move a mountain. Faith the size of a mustard seed. And it's like, for people that not into that, and it seems a little esoteric or ethereal or weird to them, Brian said it in a way, he said, if you write it all down, your subconscious takes over, and it'll guide you to it when you're not even when you're not paying attention. So you write it down, you think about it periodically, and your subconscious will guide you into it through your decision-making processes and all sorts of cool things. And I also know that God brings opportunity your way.
Yeah.
And good things happen. And
exactly.
Yeah. And so
I'm going to tell you one other story that's a good story for being the highs and lows, the ups and downs. In 2001, we all know what happened on September 11th, 2001. I was actually in New York the day before, and I was stuck in New York during 9/11.
Wow.
And I don't share that with people very often, but that was kind of wild. But so we had 9/11 hit, our patents ran out 2 years later. We had all these competitors come in at lower prices, and people in the company absolutely panicked, except for one man. And people would come up to my dad and they would say, should we go look for another job? Are we going to make it? And I remember my dad looking at him going, you can go get another job if you want to, but we're going to make it. We've always made it and we're going to make it. And he just had this incredible self-belief that, you know what, we've been through tough times before. We're going to be through tough times again, but we're going to make it. And so that confidence just helped me and everyone else that stayed at Little Giant to realize, and guess what? We made it, somehow we made it through it. Yeah, it was incredible.
And I put up here a reminder, and I'm stretching the show a little bit here because of the value and the inspiration it must be to people listening and watching right now. But this was 2001, 2002. Oh my gosh, just before the infomercial. And we talked about how Wing literally bet the farm.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So people don't realize that, when all this stuff that I just talked about happened, our sales sunk to an all-time low. It was the lowest ever in the history of the company. And it was pretty scary. I mean, we had banks that were all over us, with credit lines and all these issues going on. And so we had the idea, let's do the infomercial. Well, there was only one problem. To do an infomercial cost $1 million, and we didn't have the money. So we're in a meeting, and my dad said, all right, I'll give you the $1 million. I'll bet the farm. He had a beautiful farm that was paid for, about 60 acres. And he said, I'll give you the $1 million, but I want that money back in 6 months. I'll be on the infomercial. I know exactly what to do. He had the passion for the product and the company. And long story short, we bet the farm. My dad did. We got the money. We produced, filmed and produced the infomercial, and it went crazy. The first year we 4 times our sales. The next year we 4 times our sales again. And my dad was willing to risk it all. And he stayed so positive. He did say, I don't really want any money for it, but I'll take a $10 bonus for every ladder that we sell on the infomercial. And he did very well, because we went from producing 400 ladders a day to 7,000 pretty much overnight. And so it was huge success. And just to try to imagine ramping up for something like that. We had such amazing people. We went from 1 shift to 3 shifts, 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. It was incredible. But again, Hal Wing was right there with his positive attitude. This is going to work. We're going to make it. And those things really rubbed off on me, the belief he had. And again, we had to work hard to accomplish it. There's no question about that. But just his belief was unbelievable. And we did it, so it was incredible. But he led the way, and he always believed. So I think it's so important, that self-belief,
Absolutely. And let's see if we got some comments here. Eric B. Groovin, good morning, my friend. Let's see who else is talking. Coachman says, early happy birthday to Eli Skinner. That's my son. Happy birthday, Eli. That's 29th. So tomorrow's his birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah. And let's see. Hi, Eric. Good morning. Everybody's shouting out. Lana says, Abby's watching with me, 9 years old. This comment so far, she said, he is right, Grams. You have a fan, and thank you for your inspiration. So Abby is your fan. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Awesome.
Thank you, Abby.
The machine you feed will feed you. How about that? And let's see. Cynthia said, I wrote down my 100 goals right after Ken Wall's interview with Brian Tracy. Or was it 101? I have a Dalmatian. Oh, good idea. That's good. I've seen your Dalmatian, Cynthia, on some of your TikToks and videos and things. That's great. Let's see. Lana, OJ, such a great testimony from both you and Doug. God bless. God bless you too. Happy birthday, Eli. Getting shout outs there. Happy birthday, Eli. Way to go. Well, then Eli has been on my show a couple of times too. He's an interesting guy. You guys will love him if you check him out. So Doug, we're down at the home stretch here, and let's just remind everybody they can look at this book. It's coming out in March called Giant Success.
Yeah.
And we're going to learn about Hal Wing's journey with huge ups and downs and faith that moved mountains. Well,
Yeah, there's a lot of good stories in there about his faith and then also his giving. That's a big part of it, is giving back. I mean, huge, like I said, builder of people that built his business, but a wonderful servant as well. A man that I think looked daily for opportunities to bless people's lives, and to share what he had acquired with others. And so there's a lot of really good stories in there about his giving as well as philanthropy. There's just
yes.
so many lessons in there.
And everybody, those of you that are listening, some of you don't have $1 million farm to mortgage to get money. Sometimes you're just down. And one of the things that we talked about is if you've been up, putting it together the second time around is easier, isn't it, Doug?
Hmm. Yeah, and we all have ups and downs. We're all going to go through those things, and as you mentioned, um, we're not going to be in the same situation as Hal Wing, but there's wonderful lessons to learn from never give up. Right? Winston Churchill talked about that. Never give up, and keep your positive attitude. We're living in the greatest country in the world as far as economically and opportunity, and just keep plugging along, working hard, doing your best. And as long as you do those things, you're going to be successful. It's guaranteed.
Amen about that. Um, you can do the notification, go to dougwing.com. And when you sign up, that is, you're not committing to buying a book, you're committing to getting notified when the book comes out so you can decide when you want to buy it, which will be great. Um, Doug and I are both very open individuals. I'll tell you what, Doug answers the phone. I answer the phone. We all answer the phone. And if you're listening to this and thinking and you want to ask some questions or whatever, call Doug get a hold of Doug at dougwing.com. And there's probably telephone numbers on the website too under Contact Doug. Uh, Doug's available for coaching, executive coaching, sales training, all sorts of cool stuff. And you would want to, if you want him to be your friend, he wants to be your friend too, just like I do. So if you enjoy that kind of openness, he is there to help other people be successful. And it's like, I can't believe it. It's like Doug Wing is my friend, and I gotta say, I can't believe it. Jeffrey Gittimer is my friend too. And then you think about the people that have called me and how we got to be friends. And I guess another thing would be to talk about the 959 Club, jeffreygittimer.com. That's created a group of people that you and I are associated with, Doug. Great folks. Many
Mm.
people that are on here and been commenting. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like that's a place to touch base with people and have contact with people. Like, it's great. Now I'm just kind of looking through here. I don't want to miss any messages from anyone. Here we go down through here. It's like good. That was good. Ron said, if you really want to know the joy that comes from giving, donate your time. Many people can write a check, but those who really gain are those who give their time.
Yeah, very true. And in fact, in the book, there's some stories in there where my dad had this sense that people needed him, and he just showed up at times, and he gave of his means, but more importantly, he also gave of his time, which was huge. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see if there's any other comments here. Jerry's saying reinvention is a required process for every person in every business, or chaos will become the daily process.
Yeah, and we certainly experienced that at Little Giant. We had to reinvent ourselves several times, but like I mentioned before, we stuck with those core principles and values of really, I think the quality and the innovation at Little Giant really carried us through during those difficult years, and we had to reinvent ourselves several times.
Everybody that's jumped in here has just been a great talk. This has been fantastic. Um, so Doug's available. I mean, how cool that is. Of course, I am. Interestingly enough, every morning at 9:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, So is Jeffrey Gitomer. You might get on his website, find that if you want to know how to get linked up. It's open on Facebook, most of the days of the week, and you can get on there and actually chat with him as well. How cool is that? And make friends with a lot of the people that have been commenting here, and many others. And it's kind of cool. Going down here, see if Jerry says if Sears had reinvented, they would be Amazon today. That's a good.
Yeah, Sears had some amazing products with the Kenmore line and the Craftsman tools and everything. They had quality. They did, and a lot of their brands were great.
So one of the things, and we're putting a wrap on it now, Doug, is there a message that you wanted to say and make sure everybody heard for sure that we've missed today?
No, I don't think that we missed, but just don't give up, don't quit, hang in there, and just keep doing the things that will bring you success. I think if there's things that I really learned from my dad was, man, the guy never quit. The guy's attitude was just always positive and over the top, and he outworked everyone. I mean, he always used to say, the harder I work, the luckier I get. But I mean, a guy that slept in his car on top of foam pads with ladders and eating out of an ice box and traveled around 300 days a year. How many people today would do that? It's just unbelievable. His drive, his work ethic, his belief, and his never quit is just taught me so many things and helped me to be a success as well. As you're never a loser until you quit, he would say, and it's true. We can't. You just got to keep on going, and if you do all those things, you're going to be a success. There's no question about it.
So this saying, "Hal Wing planted the trees, and now we all get to enjoy the shade." Where'd that come from, and where is that?
Yeah, so Ryan Moss, he's the current CEO at Little Giant Ladders, and I interviewed 39 people for this book, and there were so many good stories and so many good quotes and just interactions with my dad. And this was one of them where Ryan said, Hal Wing planted the trees, and now we get to, now we all get to enjoy the shade. And so I just thought that was amazing that, just a really cool little quote from Ryan saying, hey, Hal's the one, as I talked about earlier, just barely, Hal's the one that slept in his car. Hal's the one that could only stay in a hotel every third or fourth night, and would brush his teeth in bathroom rest stops or gas station bathrooms, would clean up and brush his teeth and shave. I mean, how many of us would be willing to do that today, right? Have you ever been, right. When's the last time you went and stopped at a gas station and used their bathrooms? They're disgusting.
I have, but that was back in the 90s, early 2000s when we were on the road doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and they're not very clean, So
no.
Again,
never forget that smell.
Yeah, because of my dad, I mean, a lot of people, hundreds of people that worked at Little Giant, maybe thousands. And now with this book coming out, boy, people are really going to see the wisdom and just the genius of Hal Wing and how he treated people, and just all his different philosophies that made him a huge success. And you can use those and implement them into your life. So,
Doug, thank you so much for coming. This has been great. It's been inspirational. You're a really smart guy, and you have a reputation of being one like the nicest guy in the world. I don't know if there's an abrasive bone in your body, and it's like, I don't know. It's like that probably needs to be another show. Because will you come back and make it 3, in a few months or something?
Yeah, when the book comes, maybe when the book comes out, we can do another show, and we could give away a couple books and stuff, and some signed books. And yeah, I'd love to. And we could actually talk about some of the chapters and stories, and would love to. But my dad had such a big heart. And I think I got a little bit of that, but he was so kind. And so he was a good businessman. But one thing he said was that one of his quotes was, if it's not a good deal for everyone around the table, then it's not a good deal. And he was so fair with vendors and with distributors. He wanted everybody to have a good deal and to make money and it to be fair. He always said if he got the lion's share of the business, it wasn't a good deal. So he was very generous and such a good man.
Yes. Well, here we go. Thanks for coming. Now,
Thank you, Jay.
don't eat all the fruit in the green room. I'll meet you back there after the show.
Okay, thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And everybody, someone said, I'm going to Kansas City. Kansas City, here I come. Wow. Thank you. This has been the Buyers and Sellers Show. And I'm Jay Skinner. You know who you are, and you came to our show. Thank you very much. Love you. Thank you. See you next Friday at 10:35. Jay Skinner here, thejayskinner.com. And I want you to come back and let's keep this up. And thank you again, Doug Wing, for coming. And oh my guys, if you haven't seen the beginning, go back because Jeffrey Gittimer dropped in and he was marvelous as well. See you next week. Bye now.